as the host tonight. Also got a very special guest. Let me bring it right. And next up, we're doing the paradigm.
So we're first. I'm going to bring in.
Welcome. Kingpin is the best monarch key I have. So greatly appreciate you guys having me on. There goes my boy Russell Crowe in the background sitting on his throne. Will, thanks for having me on. And happy birthday.
Thank you.
To the other gentleman,
yes.
Rob.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you so much.
So go ahead, man. Kick it with the news. What's going on in the latest in this world?
So in the world of professional wrestling, our first things first, I think we have to talk about everything that's going on in this world today. So we have to talk about what brings it into the wrestling world, and then the Jackson Riker tweet in what he said as far as saying our president is doing a great job, which we talked about last week in our show about bullying and everything, and people are free to speak their mind, but there's a time and a place, and he picked the wrong time and place to make those comments.
And why is it the wrong time and place if he has the right to say what he wants?
I think it also goes to the Drew Brees comments. There's just, you're going to get a negative response in that. That it's going to start fire where there's already fire.
Well, but that's why our Constitution gives us the right to free speech and freedom of expression. I know in Canada they don't have that option, but the thing is, it's just that, see, I don't take offense when people express their feelings because they have a right to express how they feel. And I should not take offense to what they say. I just take that knowledge and absorb it and see from their point of view, and then just take it in and go, okay, well, I disagree, but I shouldn't be mad at him because he adores Trump or he likes how Trump's running the country. I mean, that's just his business. That's his right. So I don't understand why people want him to backpedal for what he said. My opinion.
I should not take offense to what they say. I just take that knowledge.
At the very least,
everybody has the right and kind of has the right to say whatever they feel. They have the right to that freedom of speech. And if he wants to go ahead and he says, Trump's doing great, then he has every right to say that, and everybody else has the right to say what they want back to him and saying, maybe he's not doing the right thing. Maybe he's not looking at this issue fully the right way. He has every right at the end of the day to say what he wants and say what he feels, because if we start saying and dictating what everybody has the right to and the right not to, then it's no longer freedom. It's now being dictated. So.
Yeah, and I totally agree with Gene, but think about it like this. Is it wrong for me to say, hey, Gene, pan up that camera so I don't see that moose knuckle looking at me from the camera? Is that the right thing to say? But I'm expressing how I feel because I'm panning on that crotch area right now. But Will, I mean, I see that you have something interesting to say. I mean, I want to hear what your opinion is.
At the very least, particularly with the Drew Brees comments, at the very least, what's said can garner a healthy discussion at the very least, because that's what I did today with a lot of people who came at me with those comments. Full disclosure, I'm a New Orleans Saints fan, and I kind of take one on the chin with those comments today. But again, you can take something that you feel might be negative, turn it into a healthy conversation and see if you can come to some middle ground that way. So that's something that you can always do if you're open-minded enough to do so.
And I agree with Will, because if you're open-minded, you learn from other people, and you learn if they're wrong, they're right. But you learn from knowledge. That's how you get knowledge from ignorance, or you get knowledge from people who are smart. I mean, if you all think the same, then you're never going to learn.
Yep.
Rob, what do you think?
I agree with Will. It opens up the conversation. I mean, my wife and I had the same conversation earlier this week. She was a supporter of the message with Kaepernick, and as an aunt of 3 nephews who are of color. And
you said colored. Did you hear that, fans?
No, I did not say color. I said of color. Of color. I did not say colored. No, I did not. I would not, believe me, I would not do that.
I didn't say that.
Gene, we're not that old. We can't go that way, Gene. We're not that old, man.
Rob, you got to stay on your toes when the kingpin's on the air.
I understand. But yes, but with her 3 nephews, and somebody attacked her because of her supporting the message of Colin Kaepernick, and it's like, oh, it's the same with the Drew Brees. But with me and her, it opened up a conversation because I kind of thought that way before about Kaepernick's protest, that it was disrespectful to America, but now I'm understanding a little more what the message means. So if it opens up dialogue, great. If it's done in the right way, great. Because we all just need to get along in this stage, in the stage of the game.
Most definitely. Yep.
And go ahead, Gene. Go say, okay.
That's all I know. A trumpet.
Here in Canada, I will say that we are open to diversity and multiculturalism. So we're already, I guess, if you want to sort of say, we already see that. And to see people open up discussions and already talking, where here in Canada, I'm not trying to toot Canada's horn here by no means, but because we still have issues with our own Aboriginal people and Native people, so we're no far from anything else. But it does, if you do it the right way and open the discussion up so that everybody has a say and you hear all points of view, then it can get, you can get a lot more done by hearing everybody's turn of the story instead of just hearing one side of the story, because there's not ever just one side to any story. It's multiple.
And Gene, I agree with it. And see, I did it the right way. And see how he panned up that camera and not even the crotch is gone. Things happen, That's how you make it done.
Plus Canada can't be all that bad. I mean, they had Trish Stratus and Gail Kim right out of Canada, so you can't complain with nothing.
Man, ever since I tasted Tim Horton, hold on a second. I had to take a deep breath. Tim Horton, Canada can't do me wrong.
There you go.
Had to savor it.
All right. Man. Next bit of news is moving into my first bet on this show, which I won because Drake Maverick is not your cruiserweight champion.
You did win that bet.
He did, however, get a contract. It was being rumored that they had been really I am Kingpin, I have to say, I was already a fan of yours, but I love that you're a Kevin Smith fan because I'm a diehard.
Yes,
I love Kevin Smith.
I'm diehard Jay and Silent Bob. Like, I've seen all of them. No,
but, my favorite is Clerks.
Yes,
like
Clerks is the best.
47.
But anyway, go ahead. Finish your story, Josh. I don't want to sidetrack you.
Drake Maverick did end up getting a contract. He is staying with the WWE. The rumors are that they've been really impressed with the way he worked in the tournament and everything that he did outside, and it got him a contract.
And this is what I have to say. That's great. He got a contract. I'm happy. But when a nigga knows he's going to get fired, you're going to bust your ass and give yourself 110% to show that you're worthy. That's just my opinion.
Within an hour of getting fired, the crying video was viral. You can't tell me that wasn't planned. You cannot tell me.
Oh,
that's dude, That's like D'Angelo. That's like former NFL running back D'Angelo Williams when he played for the Carolina Panthers back in the day. He had his career year the year before he was slated to get a contract extension. Once he got that contract extension, he did jack the rest of his career. So that's how it works, man.
I'm surprised he didn't have a sweater of baby kittens when he was crying, because that did an Oscar performance that I was just like shocked. Hey, do you know what? And God bless him. I am not judging him. I will do the same thing. If they want me to tap dance at the time, if I'm new in the business, I'll be tap dancing. Yes, sir, boss. Playing the spoons for the dude to keep my money.
Whatever I need to do.
Yeah,
and he was the only one of everyone let go that even got the chance to try and earn a contract back, and he did it. So you got to give the man the props.
But you know what? To be honest, he's just pennies. He's just he's just pennies in the bucket. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, he saved his job, but but look, the only reason they wanted to bring Kurt Angle back is because they knew he was probably going to go to AEW, but no, now he wants to focus on the supplement company. But Vince ain't stupid. He's he's tightening his budget because he's afraid of what happened with the coronavirus, the pandemic. So he just started cutting people that was not doing anything.
And don't forget too, he took that big loss in the XFL too.
Huge.
Think about it like this: if we ordered a feast and you go, dude, like we were at a table and we're ordering food, and you go, dude, this is pretty expensive, man, and we can't buy all this food. I don't have it in my budget. Well, can we have a pickle? It's only 50 cents. That's Drafe Magritte. Just have this one pickle for 50 cents. Yeah, I think that's okay. I think I could slip that pickle by. That's just my opinion.
But I'm very glad Drake got the chance to show off his talent. I mean, this is the guy that I think he was the runner-up for TNA in their British Boot Camp series, which was the TNA equivalent of Tough Enough. And, he's been looked at as a joke and a comedy wrestler pretty much his whole career, but he showed that he could be serious now and he can go a little bit. So more power to him. I hope this is more. I've always
are they going to use him? That's the key thing.
That's the question. Yeah.
Look at EC3, who is a phenomenal worker.
Oh man.
Yes. They don't use him. Yes. Look at all these athletes, that like when they go somewhere else, they're superstars, and then they come back and Vince goes, I think you're a great worker, but why couldn't you use them when you had them?
Right.
It's the same thing.
Right.
So is he going to stay in the locker room and just do a couple of spots here and there, and then all of a sudden he disappears like everybody else?
Hopefully he stays on NXT. Triple H will use him. Triple H will get use out of him.
Yeah, Triple H is awesome, but like I was talking to a friend of mine, anytime and again, I'm just speaking my mind, but just like when heavyweight champions, they give it to a black guy or Hispanic guy and it's just a flash in the pan and then that's it. Kofi Kingston, phenomenal athlete, was a heavyweight champion, but is he getting a title shot again? No.
Probably not. Probably not.
Well, and if you talk to a lot of people, only the first 3 or 4 months of his title run were really that great.
Yeah. But they didn't give him the opportunity. They just put him back. And again, there's nothing wrong with the New Day. I'm just saying that every time a black athlete gets the heavyweight title, they get a quick run, and that is it. It's a wrap. Yeah. Do you think Bobby Lashley is going to win this match? Negative.
And there's very few of us that can shed that stigma too. Booker was really the only dude who did that on a consistent basis. I mean, go back in history. Look at Ron Simmons. Ron Simmons won the title, and then after that, what? That was it.
He was relegated to mid-card the rest of his career.
Yeah.
Which I'll put Ron Simmons over any day because he was a phenomenal talent.
He was amazing.
And then when he got to the WWE, stuck in tag team, and never moved. Yep. Never moved from there.
He got that one match with the Undertaker, and that was it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was it.
Next topic.
Next bit of news is something we talked about last week.
You keep moving around in that chair like you got Tourette's.
Dude, I have
He's excited. He's excited.
Plus,
it's birthday night.
I'm excited. We got an ECW original on the show.
I'm waiting for him to
sit still.
I thought he was going to do the Rain Man, like, he drives me fast in the driveway.
Definitely got to get out the next topic. Definitely got to get out the next topic.
The next topic is the topic we talked about last week, but it's had some more movement this week, and that is Nia Jax. Kairi Sane, the photos came out of her laceration on her head. Now the match has played. Everybody's seen the incident. Everybody knows
edited. Let's call it what it is. The edited incident.
I don't know your opinion. What's your opinion?
The edited incident.
Everybody who listens to this show regularly knows my opinion, and I personally, I got a little heated at her last week because I'm frustrated with Nia Jax constantly ending performers. I'm not sure she should have a job anymore.
Why do you say that?
She hasn't shown me that she can work safe. She's constantly injuring people.
Well, just curiosity. So you're saying she can't work safe, but do you think it's just because you're hating because of the people that she's wrestling don't have enough talent to protect themselves in the ring? Ooh, neck drop.
Oh!
Rebuttal, my friend, rebuttal.
I mean,
Well,
Hey,
I-
we're
I-
Switzerland over here. You're on your own, Josh. Nope.
what?
I can't argue that that's not the truth, because you look at who she has fought. They're not. I mean, Kairi Sane has quite a bit of experience outside of the WWE. I would think that she knows how to take a bump and fall and to do all that stuff. And it goes with, you look at the common factor in all these injuries, and that's Nia Jax.
And ladies and gentlemen of your jury, the Kingpin, who has 26 years of experience in professional wrestling, has
Is
seen
about to
these
put me down.
No, just kidding. No, I agree with you. I totally understand, and I'm just messing with you. I just wanted to throw a little color into this conversation. Yeah, you're absolutely right. She's not protecting the wrestlers, and she doesn't care. I mean, that's just from my experience. But you know what's funny about professional wrestling is that my era, and I sound like an old man, like Johnny Ross era, but my trainer. But it's just that we were trained to protect ourselves. We were trained that if I got hit, look, I never got hurt, knock on wood, seriously, because I protected myself in the ring. In WWE, a lot of these athletes, and again, I'm not knocking them, it's just this cookie cutter training that they just say, do this, do this, do this, do this. It's scripted. Back in the days, it's go in there and work. Protect yourself, know what to do, see the signs. I used to see things come at me before it ever happened. Yeah, I got my lips split open and stuff like that. I just think that a little bit falls on the wrestler who got hurt, because when Johnny Ross this is one thing Johnny Ross used to tell me. When I got hurt, he always said, it's your fault. And I used to look at him like, how the hell is it my fault? He kicked me in the face. Because you let it happen. You're a professional. You should have been prepared.
That might be why my girl Ember Moon is always on the shelf, so to speak, because she's so concerned with the performance. She's not doing the things she needs to protect herself in the ring, and she's had various injuries, and that might be the reason why.
Hey, I got a perfect example. Look at Goldberg when he was lumping everybody up in WCW.
Yes.
But William Regal fed him his ass.
Oh yeah,
because he protected himself.
Yeah,
because he was a
and that's another one that I can rant on, because I'm not a Goldberg fan.
Hey,
but it's not that.
I'll be honest. I never wrestled in the ring, but I was getting trained to get into the ring at one time. And that's exactly what they told us. It's a two-way street. You got to be protected. You got to protect yourself and also protect the person you're working with. But yeah, if anything happens and you're the one that's holding the bag and you've hurt somebody, that's on you. Like, what did you do? Because you're supposed to be the professional. You've got that training.
And absolutely. And I'm just going a little bit something what Gene will be familiar with. Just like if you get hit in the face with a hockey puck, whose fault is that?
No,
it's the person who took the shot in the face.
No. He's honest. It's the truth. We were told that, like when we were training for hockey, or if anybody was doing hockey around here, you get smacked in the face. It's your own fault. You put your face in front of there. You know what I mean? Unless you did it to save your team, then that's okay. But
and you know what's funny? You know what's really funny though with the Nia Jax situation? This is not like, okay, let's just put it like a number. Let's say I was one of the wrestlers going to fight her, but there's 15 wrestlers previously before me that got hurt from Nia Jax. Do you really think when I get in the ring and she goes, hey, I'm going to pick you up and throw you, buckle bomb you? No. I'm going to do this. No, that ain't happening. Because you could see what she did previously. So would you trust her? And see, that's what I say. It's your fault. Because if you have a track record and you see shit happening from other incidences, you're going to be like, no, I'm not doing that. I can't trust you with those moves.
That I do agree with, because that was my first thought when the injury came up. I was like, she got hurt on a buckle bomb. Why do people keep letting her buckle bomb them? Because it seems like, I think that's 2 or 3 that she's injured from a buckle bomb, which brings up the next point in this story, in the fact that Vince has now banned this move.
Well, there's a certain way to take the buckle bomb. It takes some type of, and it's hard for me to explain it, but you have to do it in a way where you kind of pitch the person. You don't slam them down, you pitch them into it. Right. And when you pitch them into it, the buckle has to hit. You have to land with your arms over the turnbuckle, the top turnbuckle. And it's
you want them to like arc almost, like
it's an arc. It's an arc. It's not a down. It's an arc over. You know. But again, and It's just, I mean, look at Seth Rollins, man. He fucked up a couple guys doing that shit. Sting.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you.
we're
I was
almost
just
ended
about to make that point.
Sting's career.
Did end Sting's career.
Yeah, I mean,
It ends Sting's career. Yeah.
Look at John Cena's nose. Ooh.
Oh yeah. Oh,
You can't see me.
that was 5 miles of bad road that when that happened, buddy.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you know, and the funny thing about that situation is that, okay, I'm going from my the way I was trained. John Cena was a professional and he let it go as part of the business. But if you ever heard, perfectly, I dropped Rod Price on his head one time, Rod Price, and he dropped me on my head, receipt. And if I would have got my nose slapped to the side just like John Cena, he would have got a receipt. I would have hit him. You know, I mean, I got a Chili Willy story. I gave him a receipt. I beat the black off him. I mean, he was, you know, I swear to God. I mean, if you want to hear the story, I'd be happy to tell you the story.
Please.
Want to hear? Okay.
Yes.
So
yes.
it was
Yes, I wanna hear.
okay. It was the pay-per-view of, it was November to Remember. It was me, the Baldies, of course, versus Chili Willy and Balls Mahoney. Any of you guys remember that?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
Flaming Tables match.
Yep.
So the story is that Chili Willy, I was heavy. I'm a heavy set guy. So when Balls was going to pick me up in the powerbomb, Chili Willy was supposed to push my body up in a sit-down position up in the air. So when I go through the flaming table, the flames will open up and I will not get burned. So when they did that, Chili forgot. And that's why in the video, you see me just laid in there and I was set on fire and I got second and third degree burns. So, no, second degree burns. So Chili comes up to me, brother, I am so sorry. I forgot. Okay. You owe me one. I know. I get a receipt. So we're in Poughkeepsie. The following week, we're in Poughkeepsie, and I'm all bandaged up. I mean, my whole head is bandaged. The New York State Commission was like, hey, he can't wrestle. He's injured. And I'm like, yeah, I could wrestle. I could do it. No, he can't do it. So the match was Tony DeVito versus Chili Willy while Angel stays outside as a manager. So the ending is that Tony was going to lose. And then, of course, he goes, all right, when Tony loses, Angel's going to come in and hit you with a chair. And he looked at me and I go, receipt. So I said, okay, brother, this is what you need to do. When when you're done with pinning DeVito, I want you to go to the left side of the ring and stand on the turnbuckle and celebrate. When you step back, when you take that second step back to turn around, that's when the chair shot's coming. And man,
Laid into it.
oh, when he turned around, it was, what's that movie? 12 Days a Slave.
Yep.
I beat him. I had look for that beautiful beam footage. I beat him and I kept beating him and beating him and beating him, and I kept screaming, receipt, receipt, receipt. And then we went to the back and he goes, we're good. And I said, brother, we're good. I love you, man. And that was,
Wow.
and that's how we handled business in the ring. It was all about, hey, if you hurt me, bro, you owe me one, you know. And then I Jack throws a lot of money.
Yeah.
And growing up, that was a story you always used to hear, and you still hear it from the old school, but I don't think it happens anymore. Not, and I can't say that it shouldn't, some, because it might make some of these guys realize.
WWE is a totally different ball of wax now that is just different. It's just not the same. I mean, I'm not saying something negative. It's just, you know, like when you work with a company that's growing and it becomes corporate, when there's a family-owned business, and all of a sudden it becomes corporate and starts changing, and you can see the change. It's the same thing. Vince is just moving up in the corporate ladder. I mean, not a corporate ladder. His company's growing to the massive extent, and he's just like, you know, hey, it is what it is. You know, I mean, I don't know. It's just different.
All right. So
go ahead, Josh. Back and forth.
We're going to move on to the main topic of the show, and that is our interview with you, sir. So we're going to start.
You mean me?
We're actually going to, so each of us just have a couple of questions, and then we really just wanted to hear from you in your experiences, the rise and fall of ECW, you seeing it from your eyes.
You know, it's hard for me to talk about the rise and fall of VCW and see it through my eyes because the tears clouded a lot of the things that I saw. So I couldn't remember. My eyes were too watery. You know, I was too busy looking at that bounce check. I never looked at
it. As JBL did on the reunion.
Yep. There you go. There you go. I remember that.
Yep.
So, Mr. Weary, since you were the birthday boy, I was gonna hand it off to you first.
No. You go first. You go first because I'm.
No, I want to hear
I'm
Mr. Weary because he reminds me of the guy from Office Space.
Well, the first question I want to ask then is, have you seen my stapler?
We probably need you to go down into the basement. Yeah.
I'll burn the place down. That's what I do. So no. I want to go ahead. I want to talk about. I'll talk. I'm going to go off the ECW topic and let them talk about it because I want to talk about your new the new podcast that you have going on, the Wrestling with Tragedy podcast, the new venture that you have coming. You're up there, so.
Do you see this, Josh? This is a journalist. This guy.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I am. I am a newspaper reporter by career. I am.
Well, first of all, you need the hat with the press paper and it says press.
Jimmy Olsen borrowed it before I got up here. So
real quick, Rob and Will are the professional journalists here, and me and Gene are just the fans.
I hate
those Brian Gumble.
But I hate that term. I hate that term, journalist. I hate the term. I'm a reporter. I work for a small town newspaper. I'm a reporter.
I'm a podcast host, sir. So I'm not
fake news.
Which means I get paid. He doesn't that much. So,
all right. Well, what's your question? What do you want to know about Wrestling with Tragedy with my friends Kevin Rodriguez and Pierce Austin?
Well, tell us all about it. How that got started and what basically it looks to me like you're talking the dark side of the ring addendum to it, but with a lot of the stories that they don't cover. So tell us about how that started.
Well, technically, it originally started with me befriending Pierce Austin when he hit me up from Australia to do his show called Shooting the Shit with Pierce Austin. So we kind of like really hit it off. And then after that, I met Kevin Rodriguez, and we just clicked, and we had the same vision of how professional wrestling is, and we just kept talking and one day I said, I really want to get back into podcasting, and they were just like, hey man, we'd be happy to co-host a show with you if you really want to take this venture into it. What kind of show you want to do? And I told Kevin, due to the fact that he's a law enforcement officer and I'm a former law enforcement officer for many years, that we could do a dark side of the ring type of show, but with an officer mindset of looking through it with an investigative view. Because a lot of shows like Dark Side of the Ring is just individuals who just like, again, I'm not making fun of you, but guys like you who just sees it from one perspective. Right. But since me and Kevin and Pierce, he's the fan, not the fan, but the person like you guys, the normal Joe who loves wrestling. But me and Kevin look at it from analyzing the facts, like the Nia Jax situation. We look at it, we analyze it, and we cut through the bullshit, and we say, no, that is wrong. This is the evidence. This is what it's saying that's going on, and this is our opinion. So it's kind of a little more in depth, and it's growing. We're still trying to get our feet going into this show, where as time goes on, it's getting funnier, it's getting more exciting, and we're just pretty soon you're gonna see what's that show? Oh my God, the People's Court and stuff. Yep. You're gonna have Judge Wapner come in there because it's just so in depth. We just really love what we're doing, and we're just kicking it up a notch. Stop Absolutely. Picking your nose, Josh. I just saw that.
What's been your favorite story so far that you've covered on the podcast?
My favorite story is the Bruiser Brody, because the Bruiser Brody case is that there's more to that case, because the way we were analyzing the situation, it was just too many holes, and they keep saying like, oh yeah, he didn't know, he was trying to protect himself and stuff. And I said, well, if you was trying to protect yourself, why would you have your knife under a towel when you went into the locker room? You had an intention that premeditated. You had a premeditated intention to do something. Because if you had a knife in your pocket and your thing, and it came, then if Bruiser Brody was choking the shit out of you and you pulled it out and stabbed him because you knew that you were going to black out. But it's just the way he said he had the knife in the towel. He went in there because he just said he wanted to talk to him. Hey, come here, let me talk to you in the shower, away from everybody. That's how we looking at things. Like, that don't make sense. Fuck them sideways. That's what I say.
Right. Absolutely. You look at that whole situation, and 1 and 1 do not add up to 2. at all.
Yeah, man. Like I said, it does not add up, and there's more to it. And we're gonna try to get like we're gonna try to get the autopsy reports, look at it, and see, what kind of lacerations he had, if there was any defensive wounds. I mean, just stuff like that. I mean, and the way the story was is that when he tried to cut him again, and Tony Atlas pulled him back, he kind of cut off his hair while he was swinging that blade through the air. Man, you must have been in the back like grinding on that, that sharpen it up. So that shows some type of premeditation. You sharpen that knife knowing you were going to do some damage.
It's kind of like the story from Dynamite Kid's book, Jacques Rougeau, like working for hours on that mattress, just hitting the forearm shiver over and over and over. And he knew it was premeditated. He's going to take a shot at Dynamite at one point. Yeah.
That is a great question. That is journalism. That's
why they pay me the mediocre bucks. That's what they do.
Josh, get that pen and paper. Get that pen and paper out and take some notes. Will, get off your phone. Stop looking at Pornhub. Let's get going with the next topic.
All right. I have no more questions. You're witness.
So I'm gonna actually go in and ask the question: how was life for growing up for the Kingpin before ECW? Everything, like, how was the life growing up, and what made you choose the pathway into professional wrestling?
Well, I mean, it's real simple. I mean, I got into professional wrestling kind of like not a fluke, but I was in junior high school. I was going to junior high school in New York City, well, in Queens, called PS Junior High School 125. I was in class with my friend Peter. I always remember, and he had a comic book. He had a wrestling magazine, and he goes, "Hey, bro, look at this," and it was the Four Horsemen on the cover. And he goes, I said, "Oh, who's these?" And he's like, "Oh, these are the Four Horsemen, Ric Flair." I mean, he's selling it to me. And I said, "Oh, I liked wrestling, but I was not really into wrestling." And he goes, "Dude, you never saw NWA? And, you got to watch Clash of the Champions. It's coming this weekend. You need to check it out." It was 87, 86 around. No, it was 87 because that's when Sting was wrestling Flair, at that. And I think outside the ring was the guy from the Wonder Years, the Buddy Hackett.
One of the
I forgot his name, but the Wonder Years, the guy from Believe It to Beaver who just died. He was there, and I think Missy Hyatt was also one of the panelists at the time, I think.
And all Jason Hervey was the guy from the Wonder Years, and all he kept doing was hitting on Missy Hyatt the entire show.
Yeah, so that's the first show I saw, and I just fell in love with it. And then we just started wrestling in the school. The typical kids where you like make paper belts and DDT motherfuckers in the classroom while the teacher's trying to get the attention. And it's like, "Hey, man, you're gonna kill that kid." Put him in the $1 Million Dream or the Cobra Clutch, and making them pass out, not realizing you're killing them. But it was just the best. And then there was a teacher. He passed away. His name was Mr. Sanchez. He was the cousin of Pedro Morales.
Wow.
We went to Madison Square Garden. You don't take your students, outside of the school to events without parents' permission. But back in the 80s, it was cool. So he met us at Madison Square Garden, bought us our tickets, and we hung out, and we had a great time. And I had a WWF ice cream bar, and it had Hacksaw Jim Duggan on the bar. I always remember that, man. I'm sucking on that the last thing on earth. And it was awesome, man. And I was just always, Peter was calling Kim Patera Scrub Patera. I always remember that. And it was just, that's how I got into it. I mean, and then I was looking for a school, and I was sending out information for the dungeon. I was getting tons of information from the Monster Factory, but everything was far, and I couldn't, I was a kid. I couldn't jump on the train and go to Jersey and Canada and other places to get this training. And then one day it came on TV, Johnny Roz was doing a segment on Good Day New York. And then that's where I was like, "Oh, Gleason's Gym, Brooklyn, I'm there." And I went, and that's where I met Vito and Hugh Morris, and at the time, Big Sweet Williams, Taz, Damien Demento, known as, Mondo Clean at the time, but it was Damien Demento for WWE at the time. So that's how I got all started. But I grew up in the hood. I grew up in Queensbridge, New York. I grew up with Nas. I grew up with Ron Artest. You know, those are the people that were in my neighborhood. You know, a couple guys from Mobb Deep, Noriega, Capone, all those motherfuckers.
Oh. How was Johnny Rods as a trainer?
That was going to be my question too, because I'm a diehard Taz fan, and I've listened to his comments on Johnny Rods, and I wanted to ask.
Oh, Johnny's great, man. I mean, the angel joking about Johnny, oh, he's the drizzling shits. But no, Johnny, I love Johnny. I always fuck with Johnny. He would always like, my favorite story is like, he always came up with these gimmicks, you know, and, you know, my original gimmick was the Spanish Angel. I hated that name. I grew up with, you know, it caught on. That's why if you watch other podcasts, like if I'm with Homicide, he always calls me Spanish Angel. If you ever hear somebody call me Spanish Angel, it's people who knew me from that time frame. So he was like, "Hey, Angelo." He always called me Angelo. Don't know why. I'm not Italian. Angelo, I got a great name for you, the Spanish Angel. And I'm like, what the fuck? Spanish Angel? And he's like, yeah, you ever saw the French Angel? And who the fuck is the French Angel? He's a guy in the 30s and 40s. He's an ugly motherfucker, just a big head. And then I saw the documentary. He's the fucking guy who they made. They used him as the Shrek character. If you look at the French,
oh yeah, yep,
yeah, that's the motherfucker. So I looked at him with this fucking Kevin Hart look, really, Johnny, and so then I kind of like was bitching, and then Big Sal Graciano from the FBI. Mm-hmm. So I'm and I said, you know, I'm sitting there and I'm like, Johnny, you know, and it's pretty cool, but I don't really like the Spanish Angel. And Sal's just instigating it. And Johnny's like, hey, I got a better idea. We'll call you the Spanish Flamingo. And fucking Big Sal's like, and I know Sal for years, and he's like, Johnny, that is great. That is the greatest. And I'm looking at him, you big fat fuck, you giant motherfucker, you son of a bitch.
Or did he throw you under the bus there?
Oh, we used to always do that. So then I'm like, Johnny, Spanish Angel, it's fine. I love it. It's the best gimmick of it. So I stayed with the Spanish Angel. But Johnny is the best. Everybody says their trainer is the best, but Johnny is the guy who was the go-to guy if you wanted to get into WWF. You cannot say that for any other school. If you wanted to get into the WWF, you had to pass through Johnny Rods. It was called a humbling test. He humbled you. He tested you out to see if you were worthy to be in that fold. And I mean, look at the lineage he has. He has Devon, who's a Hall of Famer, who's one of my good friends. You have Taz, who is an awesome wrestler. Not anymore. He's big and fat and round, but that's a different story. then you got.
He's making a pretty good manager.
He's making a good manager, you know. You got Bill DeMott, who's humorous, an awesome wrestler, you know, even though he calls people faggot and stuff like that, and that's why he's no longer with WWE. But that's a different story. That's another wrestling tragedy episode. But no, I'm just joking. But those guys are awesome wrestlers. Yeah. When they were in their prime and they had a big Vito LaGrasso, which we didn't get along at the time when I was first starting. I mean, the lineage goes on. And Tommy Dreamer, Matt Stryker, Prince Nana. I mean, I could ramble and I keep forgetting people, but then it pops in my head. You know, I mean, Johnny has trained the best. And again, there's other schools that train the best, but again, Johnny has this way of, I mean, the sad part about Johnny is that the guys who are training with him now, Johnny can't get in the ring the way he used to get in the ring with us back in the day. So they're kind of losing a little bit. I mean, they're still getting the knowledge. I know, Will, it's dinner time. I know you're talking to somebody, but anyway, I could see you have my peripheral vision. But the thing is that Johnny, when he got in the ring, we got our ass kicked. That's what I'm saying. We protected ourselves. You know, one thing that Johnny used to do in the ring that he doesn't do anymore, we used to have to run the ropes back and forth. And he used to take it was a yellow punching bag. It was filled with, I don't know what the fuck it was filled with, but it was roughly 150 pound bag. And it was probably a 200 pound bag. And when you ran back and forth running the ropes, he would throw the bag. You had to catch it, take a bump, kick out, get up and run the ropes again. And then he throws that bag and you catch it and you take the bump. You know, that's how Johnny trained back in the days. But again, he can't do that now. I mean, he's getting older and so on and so forth. But again, that's the only thing I think the guys now, even though they're still getting trained right, it's just that they're just missing that one-on-one moment with Johnny. Yeah, with Johnny. That's it. But yeah. I love Johnny. He's like a father to me. I always think about him. I always reach out to him. He never lets me talk on the phone because he's talking and talking. You know, Angelo, I was in the ring with Arnold Skull and eating gum, talking, and you're like, yeah, Johnny, but I just called to ask you a question. Yeah, but hold on a minute. And it's like a 2-hour conversation. I said, I just called to see if you got my Christmas card.
So,
like Monsoon used to say, ask him what time it is, he'll tell you how the watch was made. So
That was a good one.
so in going with that, that's a common thing I've heard with Johnny is that he has this thing to humble you. That's the common thing you've heard from Dreamer, from Taz, from all of them.
Yeah.
Is one thing he did that no one else did is he humbled you and he made you realize, is this really what I want to do? Is this it?
Yeah, Gleason's gym was the stomping ground of being humbled. I mean, like I said, me and Vito, Big Vito, we didn't get along. I hated that motherfucker, and he knows that. He made me quit in the business in the beginning. I was 17 and they stretched me out because you have this mindset it's fake. Oh, wrestling's fake. And you're pretending, yay, like, yay, I'm a wrestler and and stuff like that. But they kicked my ass and I was bleeding and I just quit. And then it was 2 years later, maybe 3, I was watching TV and Vito was wrestling the Big Boss Man. You can have him on your show. He'll tell you the same story because I told him the story in his face the next day. But and Big Boss Man beat him, and I'm like, man, fuck that motherfucker. I'm going back. And then I went back, and we didn't get along. And then, we just clicked again. We just clicked. One day it just clicked. We were on the road wrestling for Tommy Jeanette, doing carnival shows. And he called me on my cell phone saying, hey, man, stop chewing your nails. And you want sugar with that? You want a little salt? I got some hot sauce right here on my desk. Anyway, back to my story. But when we're on the road, he calls me. And I'm giving you a complex, aren't I? Because you're biting your lip. But so he calls me, and we're in Salamanca, New York, and he tells me to show up to his room. And we just became friends. We just like hit it off, and it was me, Kid USA. Kid USA is the guy who played Mickey Rourke in The Wrestler, stunt double. And Armand is a great guy. And like I said, I got so many stories with Vito. It's a classic.
So, did you have another question, Gene?
My other question was, now that
I'm old.
as things have gone on, what have you seen, or what will you be doing life after wrestling? Like, what's your hopes and dreams and aspirations outside of professional wrestling? We got the Wrestling with Tragedy podcast, but other than that, what's other stuff that we would see from the Kingpin himself outside of pro wrestling?
I'm selling insurance for Geico. I could save you 15% by switching. No, I don't know. Right now, basically, man, I'm just trying to take it to the next level. I mean, because I can't wrestle forever. I'm 48 years old. I'm not saying I'm old, but I mean, it's just like football, basketball. I'm old. I mean, for them, in their eyes, I am not a marketable product. So I have to take it to the next level into like some acting. The podcast is my main focus with Kevin and Pierce, and we want to go to Starcast. We want to take it to the next. We want to be the number one show out there. Stop chewing your nails. And
I'm not.
okay. And I told you, when you get the Kingpin, you get the whole thing. But I just want to take it to the next level. Like I said, I want to be one of the number one, even the top 10 podcasts out there. Because, this is not saying my dream, but you have to take your wrestling to the next level, either acting or doing something. I don't want to teach because I'm not ready for that. I don't want to open my own school or something like that. I just don't feel it. I just have more to give in other avenues.
Awesome. Who's next up on the plate?
I have a question. Do you watch any of the product currently?
Dude, to be honest, I'm being 100%, and it's true. Once you're in the business for a very long time, after a while, you stop watching. I used to watch wrestling religiously. Japan. I used to get tapes from Mexico. Dude, I used to be 24/7 wrestling, everything. Now I'm like, I don't watch it anymore. I'm like, I watch more of I watch YouTube clips than actual matches.
Gotcha.
I will get on podcasts and watch, Russell talk or anything, and just talk, and I just hear what they talk about because half the shows are just talking. It's to me, it's not like the NWA, man, the AWA, you world class, man. Those are when wrestling was wrestling.
My time.
Good storylines. Iceman King Parsons, the Von Erichs, Eric Embry. Those are classics. Now I hate knocking it. I don't want to knock Vince's company because one day I want a job, production, maybe, catering. I don't know. But make that money, man. I want to be the Drake Maverick of the minority. I need a job.
Send your pennies to the kingpin, care of.
Black Lives Matter, man. Black Lives Matter. Feed the homeless. But the thing is that it's not the same, man. It's just weird when you don't.
Kingpin? Did we lose Kingpin?
He froze up.
Johnny used to always say I had to die.
Yep.
There he is. Okay.
I had to die 2 times. Oh, I came back?
Yeah, you're back.
You're back.
Froze.
You're back.
For a second.
Shit,
back.
I gotta get better internet. No, but the thing is that it's just that when you get seasoned, when you first start in the business, you don't know how it is in the business. And you kind of like, oh, Johnny doesn't know what he's talking about. Vito's just hates me. And then as years go on and you get seasoned and a little grittier, you start seeing things that they were talking about. And that's why when I sit in a locker room at a wrestling event, indies, and these kids go, I've been in the business for 5 years and I did this and I traveled and I regurgitate what Vito used to tell me. Really? What have you done? Who'd you beat? What have you done to pay your dues? Now I understand and now I appreciate it. So yeah, Vito, who was rough on me and I hated him, but now I love him for what he done because it opened my eyes to respect the business. So when I watch wrestling now, I don't know, man. It's just you go to the performance center, you never get your feet wet. You just go to one place, train, and they put you on TV. Did you really pay your dues?
Right.
It's just different.
Yeah.
See, the kids today, the up and comers today, they don't know about $25 and a hot dog.
Oh, dude.
Sure don't.
Traveling from town to town. Nope.
Sure don't.
One thing I used to hate. Oh, dude, it's just like reliving a nightmare. It's like sleeping with a fat girl with a stinky pussy. It's just like Jesus fucking Christ. But I used to remember driving, and I'm talking serious driving, like 8-hour drive.
Yeah.
8-hour going and 8-hour going back, and you get to the show and you wrestle, and you get the hot dogs, and you go, "Hey kid, remember that 50 I promised you? Unfortunately, we didn't sell enough tickets. I'll get you next time."
Oh,
those stories.
Yeah.
But do you ever wonder if you tell a promoter, "Hey, this is how much I charge," but you don't go back to the motherfucker and go, "Hey man, I see you got more people in the stands. I think I need to be paid more." No, you had to, you get you paid. That's the only thing I hated, that he's like, "Hey kid, I can't pay you, but I'll get you next time. I promise. Hey, just get yourself some hot dogs and we'll call it good." And you drive all the way back and you go to your wife at the time. "Hey, did you make any money?" And you spend more than you made, or you didn't make nothing at all, and you hear her, "Yeah, right, motherfucker."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I hate.
Oh yeah, most deaf.
That's the business.
That's why you see every independent wrestler today with shirts and pictures and all that stuff. They worry about. I think they worry about the promoter shortening them like that and that's how they make their money.
But the problem is that's supposed to
gimmicks.
be your gravy on your mashed potato.
Yeah.
That's not supposed to be your mashed potatoes. So if you just break even and you spend your money on your shirts and you just break even just enough for you to pay your way back to get back home, you didn't really make any money. You lost money. Yeah.
Right.
So I had the honor of asking the question that we all really wanted to ask tonight.
I'm Puerto Rican. I'm not black. I know you guys ask me because don't let the nose fool you. I know I got big lips and a big nose, but different type of gorilla. I know. I'm from the Caribbean. Is that your question?
Yes, that was it. It answered it.
Answer the question.
So, being an ECW original, synonymous with ECW is Paulie, and we really wanted to know what your relationship was with Paulie coming in, and what is the relationship now? Is there a relationship at all now?
Paul was great, man. I mean, okay, perfect example. Paul's great. I have nothing to come. I know I joke about the check. I know, but he gave me my opportunity. Stop moving back and forth, Josh. You're giving me vertigo. Okay, this is a perfect example. Bubba used to say, Paul Heyman, if you ever saw The Devil's Advocate, Paul Heyman is Al Pacino.
Yes.
Heard that before.
That is Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman's great. Paul Heyman's wonderful. My relationship is, look, when I went to WWE in Kansas City, it's because Devon told me to come up there to talk some business. I'm sitting down and I'm just looking the other direction. I hear him, oh my God, Papi, what's going on? And I turn and I go into, hey, Paul, what's up, boss? I called him boss. And he gives me a hug and he squeezes me. How you doing, Angel? How you doing, Papi? How's everything? Oh, shit. What are you doing here? And I said, hey, Devon told me to come up. We're just talking business. What can I do for you? Huh? What can I do for you? Whatever you need, I got you. Well, it's just, Devon's doing this for me. And he's like, I got you. Whatever you need. And then he walks away with Brock Lesnar. and Paul, from my experience, you got to take it for face value. And another perfect example, Tony DeVito, my partner, saw him at a grocery store. Hey, Paul, same story. Hey, how you doing? How's everything? Hugging on me. DeVito, what can I do? DeVito, here's my number. Writes down the number, gives it to DeVito. He goes, I gotta go. I'll talk to you later. Call me. Seriously, call me. DeVito looks at the number. He's about to put it in his pocket. Paul's walking away. He's at the register buying his fucking bagels and lox. And he's like, DeVito's like, let me call this fucking number. And he dials the number and he goes, the number you're calling is no longer in service. And DeVito just looks at him and Paul waves at him like, call me. And that's what and that's the thing. Paul, like I said, that's Paul Heyman, the devil's advocate. He just works the gimmick, and you just have to take it as a grain of salt. I can't say I don't trust him, I don't rely on him, but when he talks to me, he says, I'm gonna bring you in WWE, I'm gonna take care of you. Yeah, all right, boy. Oh, yeah, call me. Call me. Call me. I got your call ID. Call me. I got you.
Get your people to contact my people.
Yeah.
My dad used to say that in a bucket of quarter will get you a cup of coffee. So
yeah, but that's the thing. In this business, you can't take it at face value. You can't go, I quit, call your job. Fuck you, I quit. FY, I fucked your wife, and then all this shit. But it's just that's how it is, man. I just take it like if WWE called me and said, hey, we want to give you a job, okay. Just tell me when. Yeah, we'll call you next week. Okay. All good. Just call me. And as soon as I walk out the door, whatever, man. I just like, whatever. You call me, you call me. Yep. I don't set my expectation like, oh shit, ring, yo, nigga. Guess who fucking called me? Yo, hey, honey, it's over. It's over. I want a divorce. Done. I'm not coming home. Sell my shit. Fuck you. I'm done. Damn. Hello, Ma. I'm going to WWE. It's on. I'm not doing that shit. You crazy.
Exactly.
I just take it for like, all right, whatever. Call me. It's good. Thanks, Vince. Thanks for the mint. I appreciate it. All it is, man. It's just a little taste. It's all a work.
Yep.
So the last question I have, and then I really want to get your thoughts on ECW as a whole, your time spent there and everything. But my last question, if you weren't wrestling, if that never happened, what would Angel be doing?
If I was never a wrestler?
If you were never a wrestler.
I would have been I would be owning a grocery store in Brooklyn, like in White Chicks. Baila conmigo, baila conmigo. Hey, papi, what's up, huevo head? Wow, what's up, papi? I got mombongo. I got some maltas. Come into my store. You know, I would have been wearing one of those Hispanic shirts.
Oh man.
I would have been. I would have had that, like, you know, with the part where he's like, "Yo," and he combed his hair because he has those 3 hairs on the top of his head. Yeah, papi.
Oh
Oh my
man.
God.
Oh my
He
God.
asked him, "Do you
I
got
would
the
have been.
stuff?"
I would
Yeah,
have
you
been
got the
riding
stuff?
right now. I would have been looting right now.
Oh.
It would have been in my trunk of my car.
Oh.
That's what have been the kingpins. That's what I would have been doing. No, not really. I would have probably, dude, the kingpin angel is always pushing forward. Is never letting things get in his way. So if it wasn't wrestling, it would have been a police officer, which I became. Because a private investigator, I became that. I would have found something that I wanted to do. I would have probably been into podcasting at that time when things were getting hot. I never settle. You know, always push forward. And that's why I always tell people the business doesn't owe you anything. You know, that's why wrestling is like an abusive relationship. I always defend it, but it never gave me nothing back. I appreciate what it done for me, but it's always whipping my ass, slapping me around and saying, "Hey man, I'll take care of you." Like the Paul story. "Hey, I got you. I'll take care of you. I'm sorry. I didn't call you." It's an abusive relationship and I'm always defending it. But I love wrestling. But like I said, if I wasn't in wrestling, I would have definitely found something else. Because you know why? Because I got him by my side. And when I got him by my
There you
side,
go, bro.
everything's gravy. You
There you
know,
go,
and
my brother.
that's all it's all about, man. You have to have faith in yourself. And if it wasn't for wrestling, like I said, I made it in wrestling, I can make it in something else. So I have the passion. So I would have found something.
There you
You
go.
know, I don't know what it is, you know, but it would have been something. Next
So-
question.
If I could ask one more ECW question, you
Go
had
ahead.
you had some classic matches with the feud of the Baldies versus New Jack.
Yeah, what about
How hard was going into those matches with New Jack, knowing the violence that was coming in with that the people wanted to see?
You know what's funny is that I started in this career as a wrestler. Like I used to do hurricanranas, I used to do planchas, I used to do everything. But what made me who I am is, oh shit, crank, you know, crashing and shit and getting a hit. But I'm not gonna lie, man. I used to be like, when I'm laughing because the true story is, if you watch me in the ring and when New Jack's music hits, those facial expressions are like, oh nigga. Damn. Once again,
Yeah.
it is time to get on the train and get the ass with, you know, I was doing the Godfather gimmick. I was just like, so all those facial expressions you saw when New Jack came and his music hits, when I did the, oh shit. You know, it was true because I was just like, when you get hit in the head, ping, ping, pang, ping, ping. Yeah, I was fucking cursing. But Jack was awesome. Don't get me wrong. I always had a good match with Jack. Great guy. I know you guys hear the horror stories, but I never had that issue with him because we had a good relationship. But it was just always like, oh man, here it comes, you know. But he always took care of me. I never got hurt. It's just I didn't think that I would end up. I thought I'd be doing the Chris Benoit matches, those 5-star matches where, you know, that was my intention in my mind, and then I just became the Mick Foley, the not the legend of the hardcore death matches, but you know, in that realm.
Right.
You know, those type of matches
Gotcha.
that I didn't expect to be doing. But that was my opportunity, so I had to take it. But when Paul saw us wrestle Rob Van Dam, Kid Cash, and he knew we could wrestle, we knew he was like, oh shit, these guys could wrestle. So he was giving us the opportunity to kick it up a notch with other stars.
One term I've heard thrown around a lot with ECW is lightning in a bottle. That all the originals knew that it was a lightning in a bottle situation that wasn't going to last. Was that your feeling when you were in it?
No, man, I was ECW forever. The reason why, I didn't think it was a flash in the pan. I didn't think it was lightning in the bottle. You know, I thought we were going to take it to the next level, especially after TNN, Spike Channel, when we kept moving up in, you know, the video game, It was just a lot of things happening where we thought that we were going to be taken care of. I mean, when we were doing the pay-per-view in the Hammerstein Ballroom, and people were mad because Rob Van Dam was not showing up to the shows because we weren't getting paid, but everybody was going to the shows. And then Rob Van Dam showed up on that pay-per-view and got paid the money he was owed. And I know it's Rob Van Dam. I totally understand that. But when you're not eating and not getting, where the fuck did his black ass go? That motherfucker just ghosted on me while I'm in the dip conversation of my story.
Right here, dude. Had to get up for a
Yes.
second. My bad, dude. Had to get up
This
for a second.
motherfucker, that's all right, man. Black lives don't fucking matter. Anyway, back to my fucking story. Where was I? Where was I on this beautiful bean footage?
Rob Van Dam was getting
Oh yeah,
paid,
so
and yeah,
so we weren't getting paid. Rob Van Dam got paid, and I remember people were pissed, like, "Yo, really? Are you fucking serious? I can't even feed my kids, and this guy just says he's not going to show up and gets his money." But again, it was here or there, and I just thought I was going to ride or die with ECW, and the reason I stayed, everybody was leaving from Just Incredible, and again, nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, I just figured if I stuck it out, if I really stayed there and showed Paul, because I remember when before the pay-per-view even started, everybody was lining up outside his office to talk to him, from Jerry Lynn to Chris, oh my God, Steve Carino, all of them. And when I went in there, Paul was like, he gave me that look. All right, well, okay, it's your turn. What are you gonna say? Because he was probably getting hit over the head every which way. And I said, Paul, and I remember exactly what I said. Hey, Paul, I just want to let you know you gave me the opportunity to come to ECW, and you had enough vision to see what I can do where Vince couldn't see. I'm here to the end, and I want to let you know I'm the guy who's going to ride with you. I'm not going nowhere, because I thought that it was going to really wash over, and that he's going to look to the right or look to the left and say, "There's Angel. That's my ride or die nigga." I'm being honest. I thought that he would be like, "Yo, this dude stuck by me when he knew that things were going to go south and everybody's bailing on him." But negative, that didn't work out. So rest is history.
Okay. Anybody else got any more questions?
Come on, man. You
Yeah.
gotta
I'll have to ask, after the whole incident with ECW going out, did you ever think that there would be a moment where they would ask you, when they did finally do One Night Stand, that they would have you come back and be part of that and ask for some of your input? Because I know there were some of the originals that did have input in when ECW came to the WWE. Did you ever think that you were going to get a call and be like, "Hey, we're doing this one more time"?
They never called. For that, I'm being honest. I
Yeah.
thought that we were gonna get called, but the only time that we got the phone call was for the resurrection of ECW. Tommy told us that me and DeVito's name was in the drawing, but he only had enough say to say who he wanted in the company, but he didn't have enough say to say, this is who I want in the company. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, here's the names. It's your decision. But again, it was no money. I mean, CW was miserable. Apparently, if I remember, it was like $700 a week. And we were like, me and DeVito were kind of like not bitching because we were then called. We were like, man, $700 a week, and you got to what? Pay for your hotel. He wants you to be suited and booted, because that was the time when all the basketball players and everybody was wearing suits and stuff. They wanted you to be more professional. So Vince wanted you to be more professional in the locker room. I said, damn, man, for $700 a week, I got to buy me all this new gear. I got to pay for my hotel, my own car rental. What am I bringing home? What am I bringing home financially?
Right.
Yep.
So, and that's, me and DeVito, I said, I can't quit my job on that, dude. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't do it. So me and DeVito never went. Even though we didn't get called, we already had the foresight to say no if they did. So.
That's understandable.
Yep.
It's all about the money. Yeah. Money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So, in all of that, in all your time in the you said 26 years, right?
26, 27 years, roughly, almost 30, yeah, almost.
Who was your favorite to be in the ring with?
Let me close my eyes.
Damn.
Kid Cash. I love working with Kid Cash, Nova. I loved everybody. Don't get me wrong. Danny Dorian, Roadkill.
Who would you say you had your greatest match with? Like if you had to pick one.
My greatest match.
Yeah.
Kid,
If the
Ca-
match
Kid,
is
Kid Cash and Rob Van Dam match. We had a Kid Cash and Rob Van Dam match. We did a house show and we blew the roof off. Paul even came out. I heard you had a good match. I heard it was awesome. It was just on fire. So then we did the same match on a taping for TV, and I think it was in New Hampshire. There's only 2 matches. I mean, if you look up, I can't find it on YouTube, but it's out there. Our video probably has it on one of their videos.
Man, Kingpin, I think we could talk to you for hours.
Yes. Yes.
I'm pretty entertaining, man.
This
It's
has
just
been
so
this has been my favorite episode of the podcast so far.
yeah.
Well, technically,
Or
I'm
none.
the only guest you have, so that probably is the reason why it's your favorite.
Don't get it wrong. I mean, we can all hold a pretty good conversation to make some good shows, but it's just been really interesting to hear because, like for me, this is my first interview with a wrestler ever, and being a fan, this has just been an honor, like truly an honor.
I appreciate it. I really appreciate that Dos Equis on top of your shelf and you're most interesting man in the room. You know, I'm always aware of my surroundings. You know, as a former cop, I always look around and see things.
That's right.
You know,
As
but I really,
opposed to my vanilla wood paneling behind me.
it looks like you're in
Nothing
in the basement of your mother's house.
I'm in the attic of my house, though, so you're not that far off.
Well, I mean, Rob, you can send me a Philly cheesesteak because I know you're in Philly. Go to Tony Luke's, or who do you prefer, Pat's or?
I'm actually in a little town in central PA. I'm about an hour and a half away from Philly, so I'm in this little pigeonhole of a town. Nowhere near Philly.
Who do you choose? Tony Luke's, Pat's, or Gina's? Come on, spit it out.
I'm going with Pat's.
Bastard.
I'm sorry,
You bastard.
but I actually think I have that. That magazine that you were talking about.
Which
I
magazine?
think I do. The Four Horsemen magazine.
Oh yeah. But mine was Tony Luke's. Because it was around the corner from the arena, so my loyalty is always with Tony Luke's.
Right.
But like I said, guys, I appreciate you guys having me on your show. I really had a good time. You know, I really appreciate you have a black guy as one of your co-hosts. You know, I do appreciate that. You know,
he's actually the guy in charge. He's
the one that keeps us under control because us 3 fans will ramble and ramble and ramble.
That's what that was. Yeah, you need black power, man. Show enough for Harlem. But yeah, man, I had a great time. I mean, I appreciate you guys having me on.
We would love to have you back again sometime. It was, like I said, an honor. As he said, check out Wrestling with Tragedy. I've been catching a couple episodes because I've been really in the dark side of the ring.
Find Wrestling with Tragedy on YouTube and then follow Pierce and then go follow Angel and then go follow Kevin Rodriguez over there at Wrestling Review Society and Pierce over in the MWA. So, Multi Wrestling Continental, their alliance, they are everywhere. So these are all pages that we follow. Plus, if you don't ever forget, we talk about it all the time. Go follow the Wrestling Boiler Room as well. The VOH.
Hopefully
don't forget Wrestling 2020 with Brood, so that's an awesome show well.
That's right.
Hopefully here's
I hold the record there. I have the record there for the highest
there you
score.
go
87 points.
Hopefully sooner rather than later we can get Piers and Kevin on as well.
Well, first of all, if you really want your ratings to go up, you won't have them on. That's I'm just giving you some.
Angel, is there a specific time or that the shows drop? That the shows are available? Or
we always try to drop them every Monday, every week. It just depends on, people, everybody got to go to work. But we definitely try to keep it on a consistent basis to drop our shows every Monday. I never see it past Tuesday. I mean, sometimes people forget and they go, oh shit, and then they put it on Tuesday, but we always try to drop it on Monday.
Okay. And what's your social media handles?
Oh, it is. Don't give a fuck at Instagram. No, just kidding. It is A period Medina 262 and on Instagram. You can find me as A period Medina 262 at Facebook, and also on Twitter it's ECW Baldy Angel. And I do have a TikTok, but man, I'm not feeling that shit. I can't.
I ain't either, man.
Yeah.
I can't get into it.
I'm trying to figure out how to incorporate wrestling with tragedy, because I've been seeing some people promoting their shows on there without doing like how you're doing Williams with the background and just talking about their show for like So I've seen some things like this. I was like, I could do that, but I'll be damned if I'm gonna walk in high heels and wobble and all this bullshit. I ain't no dancing monkey.
That's the whole reason I
I'm
downloaded it. It's
dancing
like,
for the man.
how can I make this work for Paradigm Shift? And I'm like, I don't know how.
Oh, you'll figure it out, man. It's a network. It's something to put your information out there. It's another social media platform. It's just that I just don't feel it, man. I just can't do what. Again, I'm not knocking what Kevin and Pierce does. God bless them. I just when I stand in front of the camera for myself, going, I'm just, I don't know, whatever silly shit they're doing.
Right.
I'm just like, nah, I can't feel it, man. I'm not gonna stick silly string in my ass and have it come out my nose for the entertainment of people.
Oh my goodness gracious, man.
All right, Mr. Will, why don't you go ahead and take us out?
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in to a new episode of The Paradigm Shift. Please subscribe to The Paradigm Shift wherever you listen to all your podcasts, whether that's Spotify, iTunes, Spreaker, Deezer, Pod Player, and Podchaser. Like, share, comment, and subscribe on YouTube and SoundCloud. Also, follow us on Facebook at Paradigm Shift Wrestling. Have an idea for the show or a question? Please email us at paradigmshift@thestablesnetwork.com. Follow all things wrestling and connect with the show at fanview.com/Paradigm Shift. Thank you to the Stables Network for bringing this and loads of other podcasts to you. Check them out at thestables.network. Last but certainly not least, thanks to Brooke for producing this and all our shows. Again, thank you for listening to the Paradigm Shift Wrestling Podcast, the Paradigm of Wrestling Podcast. Go ahead, man.
And I just want to say one thing. I don't say this all the time, and once I give you this monarchy, it's really legit. But yo, Paradigm Shift is Kingpin approved, and I don't give it to too many people.
Much love, man. Much love, man.
Yeah.
Much love,
Much love, man.
Thank you.
Again, Kingpin, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for being a part of this episode. It was an honor and a privilege.
The privilege is mine, man. Thank you for having me on, and I am the first minority wrestler on your show.
You're the first wrestler, period.
Period.
First wrestler,
Period. Next time you bring this guy on, and I'll put on the gimp outfit.
Oh!
We bring out the gimp.
Oh, man.
Here we go, man. I had a ball, fellas.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
That was a great show, guys.
Thank you.
Hang on real quick. Just